I'm gonna be like, squirrel. Ooh, that's squirrel.
There is no future for people who deny their past. My foreparents, my grandparents,
Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, your ultimate destination for urban culture, community vibes, and live conversations with the movers and shakers of the streets. Join us as we explore the rhythm of one beat at a time. Let's get the show started. Turn up the volume, sit back and relax, and welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, hosted by Turbo, the CEO, and follow us on all social media platforms.
You're listening to the Final Boss Podcast.
Boom. Welcome. Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast. Tonight, we got a very special guest, my great friend, the Brochacho, Dan Wilder, also known as Two-Face the Wild One. Let's give it up for him. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
We got a great show for you guys tonight. We're going to be talking about most importantly, we're going to be talking about Dan and all the things that he's involved in, from being a voiceover to radio promotion to being a corporate voice actor. I mean, he does it all. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about a couple other things as well. We're going to be talking about friendship and the importance of friendship, because we've been friends for some time now, and I'm ecstatic to have him on board. Listen, man, this man has a story and testimony to tell. But before we get into it, welcome, everyone. Welcome. And my greeting, as you always know, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is the Final Boss Podcast, and this is episode number 84. 84, baby. 84. We're here. Number 84. So, tonight's episode, Brochacho Chat. That's what we're going to call it.
I like that. I like
fits.
that. The Brochacho Chat.
This is what it's going to be. Brochacho Chat. So, for everyone that's tuning in, no matter where you are, thank you for joining us. And I like to start the show off with my brass tacks before we get into the thing. Brass tacks is a quote that I pulled from someone who is either a celebrity, a politician, tier one folk, poet, artist, you name it. Tonight's brass tacks comes from Muhammad Ali. And here it is. Friendship is the hardest thing in the world to explain. It's not something you learn in school. But if you haven't learned the meaning of friendship, you really haven't learned anything. That's the brass tacks for tonight.
That's deeper than most people will.
And that's going to go over some people's heads. Listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful, especially because when you're dealing with, especially in the entertainment industry, finding true friendship is not easy.
Oh,
it's a lot of filter, but I always tell people, the pressure, you got to filter through the coals and apply that pressure to get them diamonds. If not, you never find them. So that's how I look at it with people in friendship. Like people say, "Oh, no new friends." Yeah, whatever. Not everybody's made to be in your life the entire time. Some people are made to be in your life part-time to either teach you something good or teach you something bad, or be like, "Hey, see that what happened with that person? You learned something, didn't you?"
Yeah.
One thing a very good friend of mine mentioned, Terrence, he said, if you pray for something or you're pushing for something, and yet and then you reach an obstacle, or you're going through a trial during that path, if you're still going through it, then there's something in that lesson that you haven't learned yet. And when you do, you should start moving. I'm dealing with that right now. We all go through it. So, you know, and that's the fun thing about life. And you just got to know how to move through it.
You got to know how to navigate through it, man. Know how to navigate. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan is an incredibly talented national voice actor.
Thank you.
Audio producer. Wait, my accolade list. Let me finish this list. It's long.
Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
Audio producer, video producer, event host, and former radio personality. A true hypopheniate.
Mr. Multimedia.
Yeah.
I need to get a cape.
That's for my
Mr.
smart
Multimedia.
That's for my smart.
With like 3 M's.
Yes, sir. We're going to dive into his incredible career journey, exploring the world of voiceover, radio, hosting, and ever-evolving advertising industry. Boom.
Ever-evolving.
Yes, ever-evolving. Anybody that tells you in Reddit, it's always changing.
Yep.
Always changing, man. Yep.
And I'm a gadget freak. So that's why I keep up with some, you know, and I would tell people to keep up with the times, because times have changed tremendously, and modern technology has made life a lot easier. But with that, the bar gets raised even higher, because now everybody has access to at least a decent camera. If nothing else, you can get a lot done with this phone.
Absolutely.
So, but knowing the easier it is to get it done, the higher the bar is. So that means you really got to step it up.
You got to step it up, people. So, man, let's start with we're going to start with a broad question. Knowing, hold on. I'm playing with my tech right now. Come on, screen, get together. There we go. Knowing your background, what's the first thing that comes to mind that you'll like to discuss? The floor is yours.
Determination and consistency, because and it's the main thing I want to talk about. Or you have a voice, and I don't just say that because I'm a voice actor, and my life has guided me to where I am now. But no matter what, the best thing this is the broad thing I always want. I like to talk about. There's an art, everything you do. And that which will, and then so you got to make the best of it. It can come. It doesn't matter if it's all right. Perfect example. When we're packing, or if we got to stuff the trunk, or we're hitting the road, or moving, or something. I'm the one that's trusted to pack everything because I used to play Tetris, so I know how to make that stuff happen. So
I like what you
and I see it. I look at everything I have, and I know how to make the best of every single bit of space. And that's the challenge for me. It's actually, most people don't like doing that, but I like it because it's a challenge. I love challenges. I love playing stuff like Tetris and even what's Candy Crush and all that. I love puzzles. I love things that make you alert.
Yeah,
which is wild because a lot of people will talk trash about gamers and gaming, but depending on the type, it depends on the type of gaming that you do. But if you're playing a game, let's say Fortnite catches a lot of flack, but Fortnite. Your response time, and there's an art to how they do it. I watched my young son move his hands with his gaming computer, and it's amazing. But he has his own technique, and when you find the art in what you're doing, that's when you develop the technique. It could be how you do the dishes. I be timing myself. It could be anything that you do, and when you do that, you actually have way more fun, and you don't even realize how much fun you had till it's over, and you're like, "Damn, that was fun." Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself for anything. That's like in looking forward to certain things. So that's my main thing, is that there's an art to everything that you do. And when you do that, you'll have fun, because what people don't realize is everybody wants to reach that goal, which drives me crazy about rap music now, because back in the day, I'm sounding like an old head, but back in our day, rappers rapped about the grind, and you see people talking. That's another reason why I'm very transparent even in social media and stuff like that, because people don't. Everybody's focusing on the goal, but once you reach the top, and I've been to the top, I've been to the mountaintop, and the mountaintop, way less people, but getting up that mountain to the mountaintop. That's where all the good memories are. That's where the challenges are, or even the bad things that happen. Like, yo, I can't believe that happened to me. But guess what? Yeah, it's the memories, and then you laugh about it. So enjoy the journey. Yeah, woo! That's where all the fun is at. That's where the gumbo is.
It is. It is.
But yeah, that's my main thing that I would like to put out to the world. And it's something else too, but we already talked about. We'll talk about that later. I'm just, I'm trying not to ramble because I have ADHD. For those who don't know, and it's, I didn't want to take any more medication because I'll be up all night.
It's all good, man. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that I reached out early because I got a great feeling that your life is about to get real busy with good busy stuff with work and being radio and commercials and things of that nature. So I reached out early and I wanted to get you on board as soon as possible before your life got real crazy, and then it'll be somewhere down the line. But man, the timing was perfect. But you mentioned something from a gaming perspective. I'm a gamer. Listen, the multi-function and calculations and things that you have to simultaneously do when you're playing these high-level brain games, I like to call them, and it's thought on the go. You got to solving puzzles, whether you're maneuvering, whatever you're doing. You got to have the brain capacity to be able to do that, man. It's high level, man. Definitely high level.
Yep. Yeah. And be able to pivot when you have to pivot.
Absolutely.
That's a powerful word. Not just because it sounds cool in rap music. Know how to pivot, because life will. And you learn how to stick and move. I got diabetic nerve pain toes, but them things know how to pivot. Can't tell you. You got to do it, especially especially with I call myself Mr. Multimedia because I think my short attention span is what got me into so many different things, and I move by passion. Controls my life a lot, and so I have to be into it. Like my heart has to be into it, and that's when I go all in. But at the same time, that's I kind of used that and kind of got away from. I started blocking some of my blessings because God has blessed me to be able to be Mr. Multimedia, but there were certain things that I had swayed away from, like radio, because the way I was fired, left a bad taste, and then I became a dad, and my life changed. But it's crazy because, and his name is Steve Hegwood. He fired me because I was when you get new management, not everybody's going to fit the vision. But there were things that he was right about. Like he made me stop using "Till We Meet Again" from Kirk Franklin at the end of the show. And I'm like, damn, that's messed up. But he was like, nothing about your show and nothing about your vibe, your energy seems godly. So let's just not use that. And I'm like, what? But at the time, this is 2007. I didn't become a real man of God until 2015 when I was saved. And my life had changed then. So I'm not that person, but I had to get past that. And I went through years of depression, drugs and partying and alcohol and being around people that were all doing the same thing, getting twisted. And, we were all successful, but during that time we could have been way more successful, but the partying and the drugs and alcohol got in, and I hid away from that. Right. And that's something that I needed to go through, and I survived it. That's why I talk to a lot of people about depression, because once you deal with depression, I mean, it can sneak up on you and kick your ass. You just got to know how to handle it and learn. Everybody has technique. No one can tell you, like even counselors. Like, I won't talk to a counselor or a trainer unless they've been through it. If you're a trainer and you didn't used to be fat, I don't want to talk. I don't want to hear from you. And because a lot of times books can't teach you heart. Books can't teach you how to handle certain. I mean, they can tell you they can try to teach you some techniques, but there's a lot of things that can just come naturally that you have to. As you go through the experience, you learn how to maneuver through these things and get through it. So, and then a person like me, because I've been through so much, I used to call myself a professional screw up. But it's true. I'd have made so many mistakes.
Hey,
I think
up,
that's
man.
why people always ask me for advice.
Since you're new to the show, that's your phrase, and I'm throwing a flag on the play because that was crazy.
Yo, I've made because I like I'm a wild boy. I was a wild boy. Like the name wasn't just Wild Boy because it sounded good.
I know, bro. The days from Middle East and the record label and the show, man, listen, it was crazy. That was crazy times, man.
Yeah, but it was fun though. Yep. And a lot of magic was made, a lot of memories were made. But that's all part of the journey. That all goes back to the journey. Enjoy the process. Don't just trust it. Enjoy it. Because if you trust it, but you're sitting there, it's kind of like praying. Like, I mean, yes, I believe in miracles, but the chances of miracles happening, you know, and expecting a miracle, that's a totally different thing. And, you know, I was, you know, and even my son is 17.
I got to pause you. Hold on.
Hmm?
That was profound. I need you, smarts and final bosses. Listen, take notes in this episode. We're giving you some emotional transparency. He just made a profound statement that I need him to repeat because that was a powerful statement. Say that one more time for me, brother.
Which part? About praying and
no, about the miracle.
About miracles. Miracles happen.
Yeah.
But the problem is a lot of times, a lot of us, and I'm guilty of it too. I've been through it. But these life experiences is what got me here mentally, physically, and spiritually is, you know, we want those miracles. There are times where we beg for miracles, but but you can't sit there and expect anything to just happen in life. What can it happen that way? Absolutely. But the chances of it, I feel, and I used to be one of those people that felt like works played the most biggest part in faith and belief and spirituality my thing is that, so I found a balance because I had to learn. I didn't start reading the Bible till a few years ago. So the thing is that you pray, but you still got to do your part. Right. And that's where we mess up because, and it's not even, and I won't say, when I say we mess up, it's not that we're doing it on purpose. It's that a lot of times our emotions guide us, and our emotions will like me, you know how much stuff I've deleted off the internet because I'll say something out of emotion and I'm like, okay, I went too far. Let me delete that. Try to keep the positive stuff. We all go through it. And when you hit rock bottom, and and don't take this the wrong way, ladies and gentlemen, but everybody needs to experience some sort of rock bottom.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because it teaches you appreciation. It teaches you how you learn. And even when they say, you know, sometimes you got to start over. When you're starting over in life, you're not just starting from scratch and fresh. You're starting over with those lessons and those, damn, I did this and it didn't work. So I could try this. Or some things where we want it to work so bad that we will keep pushing it and trying to force and beat a dead horse. Mm-hmm. And that's where, a lot of times, mentally, we do that with miracles. We expect it or want it so bad and pray for it so hard and pray and I got bad knees, but you know, I'll get on my knees and pray and it hurts. And then we want that miracle and it's not always going to happen. It does. So that's why I always say, just pray, but you got to stay. It's a combination of things. It's like balance, it's like having work-life balance. You got to have your faith. And I did a post. You see this? Yeah. This is a big ass forehead. Your faith has to be bigger than this forehead. And do your part. There's something that you want to, if there's a goal you have in life and you're praying for it and God, please help me get into this position or you know, and all that stuff, you got to be ready. You better be ready. That they say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You got to be prepared and you have to do your part. So that way, when those opportunities come that you prayed for, like, all right, I just, and there's no secret. I got laid off from Odyssey Inc. They did a big layoff, a whole bunch of people. I was one of the newer people. I was there for 3 years. And I know it wasn't for my work. And we had our discussions and stuff like that. That's all I can really say because I did sign an NDA. But I was there for 3 years. That was epic and learned so much and so much. All right, I'm getting sidetracked. So if my ADD kicks in, just be like, all right, Dan, let's get back to the subject. So I just wanted to tell you that. But I feel myself swaying a little bit like squirrel.
You got 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. All right.
All right, so I'm good. So my bad. I'm rambling.
Oh,
But
man,
I'm very big on passion.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about life, and I had to learn how to mix that passion with structure. It's just like talent. If you got talent, a lot of people have talent. One of the things that biggest mistakes I made when I was in radio, and going back to Steve Hegwood, who that's what I was talking about, because I got fired by Steve Hegwood, and I learned a lot of stuff. And when I got fired in 2007, because we just kept bumping heads, I didn't fit his vision, but there was a lot of stuff that I could have done better. And one of the things I learned, and I didn't apply it until after radio, I applied it with business, is it doesn't matter how talented, you can have the best talent in the world, but you have to, if you want to be taken serious, if you want to get out there as an artist, if you want to get out there in anything, if you want to, I know a guy who he loves collecting trash because people, especially because his route goes into a rich neighborhood and people get rid of really nice stuff. Just got to be into it. And then, so that's why, like I said, I'm big on passion, but I don't block your blessings, because when I got fired, I lost the taste for radio. Using the name Dan Wilder, people think that's first of all, I'm Puerto Rican. There's nothing Puerto Rican about Wilder. It's just something that I use as a transition from being the wild boy, Dan Wilder. And one of my favorite all-time favorite movies is Van Wilder, Part of Liaison. Shout out to Ryan Reynolds.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you for that, man. Let's pivot a little bit. There's that word, pivot. I knew it was coming. Let's talk about your career a little bit, right? You've created some truly memorable commercials.
Thank you.
What are the key elements of a high impact radio or television commercial?
Know how, and this is something, my old boss hears this, he's gonna laugh and he's gonna be like, I see you learned your lesson. Is you got to learn how to cut the fat. A lot of times, and in high impact advertising, I call it high impact advertising because I think what helps me do it is that I have a short attention span. So when I make commercials for people to keep that attention of someone who has a short attention span. And then a good friend of ours, I had this conversation with Tony Lear, and Tony Lear was like, well, I challenge that.
Listen, I need Tony, I need you on the show, bro. Shout out to Tony.
One of the most brilliant minds you will ever meet.
Oh yeah, super smart.
And we came up, and the way we came up in the grind, and from that started at Mideast, and I mean, this dude is brilliant. He's and shout out to him for doing his thing. And he said, I challenge you, because I said this. There's the attention span of the average consumer is very short. It's very small. He said, I challenge you. I challenge that and say, maybe it's not interesting enough. And he's right. And both parts play a part in high impact advertising. You got to be able to stick and move. You got to be able to you got to say a whole lot in very few words. Your transitions have to be different. And one of the biggest things that I learned from one of my coaches, Cayman Kelly, he used to do the Red Light Special on WKYS in DC. And he's, you hear the Breakfast Club. That's Cayman Kelly. Yeah. And he's all over the world doing it. And one of the things he told me is that he called me out of the blue. He's like, yo, I heard your commercials. And it's like, that thing was dope. It's epic, great effects. But you keep going down at the end of every line. It's like, this Saturday night, it's going down. Right. So then it becomes redundant. Then people will take their attention. So you have to know how to hit them joints and take the fluff out. This is going to be the illest party. Boom, boom, boom. No. You know how they're going to know it's the illest party? By sticking the facts. Because the more you add fluff, what we call fluff is all the extra hype and all that stuff. Right. It seems fake. The world is so crazy right now in 2025 that natural, organic, even in radio. Back in the day, radio was, everybody was very pitchy. Even radio doesn't do that anymore because people don't like to be talked at. They like to be talked to. And that's that thing with, and then so even with the commercials. Now, if you're doing a concert or party, that's when it's a little bit more intense, or imaging is like when you hear DJ drops like on WPGC 95.5. So that's a little bit more animated and but even with that, pop, everything is stick and move, pivot, jab, stick and move. Because then when you do that and it keeps their attention. Even when if you look at the promo videos that I make, they're like, wow, there's a lot of stuff in there. You have to do that. And also I have to feed my my compulsiveness when it comes to how I edit. Like one of the commercials I talk about, I had a promo talking about it. I did a commercial for when Boosie first came home from prison, and he was at Echo Stage in DC.
Okay.
16 videos. I use clips from 16 different videos just to make that thing pop because I needed to keep that attention. So, and what the reason why I had to do the 16 videos is because I kicked it off with his verse with the BOOSIE. I made sure that as he spelled his name, there was a different clip from a different video. I don't care if it was a concert. I don't care if it's a song, official video, whatever. And that's the thing is that you have to be able to give them a lot of information in a short amount of time. And I take credit for it. Like back when I was the voice of DTLR before they went national and started. Now, when they started DTLR radio, they were using the jocks and stuff. But shout out to Rasan Fuller and Sean Caesar and everybody over at DTLR, because that really kicked off my voiceover and production combined career, because Rasan knew me from radio.
Right.
He knew I was doing commercials, and he tested me. Like, yo, we need this in and out. We need the emergency joints. Crushed it. And that's when they started using 15-second commercials. Because back before, let's say 2010, before that, if you had a 10 or 15-second joint, it's only 10 or 15 seconds. Let the radio doc say it, but they'll never cover a lot. And that's not purposely, and some people will. They don't cover it the way it should be covered. I know how to maximize that 15 seconds where it won't be, because you got to put as much information as possible without it being. Can I curse?
Yeah, you can curse.
No? Okay. Without it being a clusterfuck. Yeah. And that's where, and that's where people overdo it, because high impact advertising doesn't mean you're putting all the toppings at Subway into one sandwich. You can't. Right. So everything I do is strategic. Every scene that you see in a promo video is strategic. It has to fit the vibe of what I'm talking about. Not, let's say if it's a concert, or I recently did one for Go Boat, which is the electric boat company that rents out boats for people to drive. Right. And it's everything comes off differently. But even with corporate work, they require less. They corporate America is always big on less is more. But even in that less is more, that less is in there actually has to be even more impactful, because those scenes, and you have to do your storyboards, and you have to do, which is your planning. You have to have that planning and that show prep, because even though it's clean cut, and it's only clean cut because they don't want a whole bunch of borders and too many effects. Right. So that means every scene, every clip, every scene that you have in that video is going to be extremely important, because there ain't no razzle dazzle around it to distract you. So though they have less is more, that less has to be very, very powerful. And that's where high impact advertising comes in. Even and another pet peeve of mine in radio advertisement. In radio, it is 2025, ladies and gentlemen. Please stop putting your phone numbers in commercials, especially if there's no room. And I get jocks that do that. They're like, all right, so make sure you call 202-422-7694. Who the hell gonna remember that? So if you have to put a phone number in your commercial, make sure your copywriter, the writer, whoever writing your script, or if you're doing it yourself, make sure there's room to repeat it. So that way, so make sure you call 202-4. If I can't voice it and say 202-422-2395, if I can't say it at that pace, because I can only say it once, you got to give. And a lot of people will say, call 202-422-2395 for tickets to that. No, you said it. You have to cue. It's like call and response as a host. So instead of saying call this, and that for that, you got to say for this, like, so to get your tickets now, call boom, boom, boom. Because when you say that, you're cueing the listener to, I gotta hear the website. And that's where utilize social media, utilize your websites. I don't understand why people use so many different links. Even though social media has become popular, you got to have a site, because if some things go down, you still have your main page. Put your stuff on there. On my website, I use my Instagram page, because the feed looks beautiful and it shows up on the website, but it's still on the website. So, and that's the thing is if you're going to have a phone number, make sure you can put it there slowly, because if not, you're just wasting your money. 60-second commercials, done. Unless you have a lot of information and it's a big thing, you're wasting your money. You're better off getting more slots getting 30 seconds. Now, if you have something that requires so much information that you need to have a 60, then that's where somebody like myself, who's whether I'm voicing it or producing it, I got to make sure I'm keeping attention. That's where the sound effects and the distractions, or not necessarily distractions, but they have what we call breakers that break the monotony of stuff. Yep. So that way you keep their attention. And that's why I'm big on high impact advertising, because if it's not making an impact, everything I make, if it's not changing your numbers, if it's not getting you ticket sales, if it's not, then I didn't do my job. My job is to make sure, not just to make it look cool. There's video effects that I have that are amazing, but a lot of times it's overkill. So you got to know what to use and how to use it.
All right.
And that's how high impact advertising works.
Well, thanks, man. Appreciate you for that. Let's shift gears a little bit. So let's talk about voiceover business and people trying to break into that. For aspiring voice actors, what's the best path to breaking into the voiceover business? Training,
and get a mentor. And that goes for anything in life. But one of the things that I made it a point to do, and one of my coaches does this too, there's a website called edgestudio.com. Okay. When people say, oh, I want to get into voiceovers, it's all right, well, go to edgestudio.com. If you go into their education side of their website, they have a script library that's categorized. And then I always tell people, go in there, because you have people that do it because they have a good voice, or that want to do it because people say they have a good voice. But it's more than just the voice. Like a lot of times, and the cool voice thing, a lot of that is mainly in where you have to be a little bit more dramatic or more intense, like concerts, parties, and Sunday. That even I still have to do stuff like that every once in a while. Like Price Busters Furniture. There are still people that want that intensity. But I always tell people, go in there. Right. And if you go on that website, and what moves you? I always ask, what moves you? What kind of commercials? Like, if you really want to be in the voice of, what moves you? Because you want to get training. And training, the cheapest I've seen, the average it can go from $75 to $150 an hour, depending on who's training you. So, what moves you? What commercials move? What made you? You say you want to get into voiceovers, and I'm not talking about radio jocks that need money and then they call me and say, hey man, I want to get into voiceovers, and because they need money right away. It's just like the music industry. It ain't gonna come right away. You got to train. You got to, and if you don't have money, like when I started in voiceovers, I didn't have money for training. So what I did is I would just mimic commercials, and even people think I'm weird, but I would mimic the commercials that I like. And I realized that I was born to do this because I used to be, Bo, me and Bo used to get in so much trouble when we were kids that and it would be, we used to be grounded. Dog, we used to be grounded so much that we were actually allowed to watch TV because we couldn't leave the house. And on a good day of being grounded, we got to sit on the porch.
Hey man, shout out to Bo. That's my dude, man. He did a lot of engineering and producing for us, man. Back and
fun fact, he went from doing the studio work and engineering, and he got into the all the stuff. He even set up an AEW event. That was cool. And doing all that, and now he's the operations manager at the Omni Shoreham Hotel. They was like, what do you think about not traveling and just staying with us? Come on over here. And he's killing it. Shout out to my brother, my big brother.
Shout out to your brother, man. Now.
He's also snoring like shit on the other side of this wall. He is snoring like a motherfucker. Oh, the light that cut off. Oh, Lord, I am so sorry. And I'm a kitchen too. Hold on. Sorry, I ran out of power. I'm overdoing it. I forgot to plug that in. I'm sorry. But I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Here we go.
All right.
Hold on. Hold on. Can I stand up real quick? I am so sorry. I forgot to plug the charger in.
Do you think?
See? This is what I tell you, man. This is ADD. Don't look at my shirt if there's wrinkles on it. I'm sorry. I just got to plug this in, ladies and gentlemen. I just got to plug this in. All right. There we go. There's the slot. Just make sure we don't knock over the camera at the same time. All right. I hit the power button. We're going to turn this button, ladies, and we should get light. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that, but we have power. Right. So yeah, that's what I tell people to do and what I did was because I didn't, that's what we're talking about, how getting into voiceovers. I didn't have the money. So I would just go on YouTube University of YouTube. I am on my fourth degree at University of YouTube. And just look up commercials, stuff that you're interested in. And then what you do is that you don't want to sound, what you do is it's kind of like music, or it's kind of like anything in art. You find what interests you, and then you put your own spin to it. Then you start, and then you develop your own thing and sound and style. Because one thing I don't like, and one thing you got to watch out for voiceover coaches, are people that are too old school. There's one lady, huge name in voiceovers. I wanted her to train me so bad, but she said because I didn't go to acting school yet, that I shouldn't be dead. Come on now. Yeah. With all the different facets of voiceover in the voiceover business, that's just an old school way of thinking. And one of my coaches was like, yeah, she's just old school, but this is all, it is what it is. So you got to be careful. But yeah, that's one thing that helped me is just practice, find the things that interest you and try to mimic it, and then create your own way of doing it. But eventually you have to invest in yourself. You have to get coach. And that's why I say, look at those script libraries, because then you start finding out, because you have automotive, you have the conversational commercials, you have radio imaging, there's the concerts and parties, movie trailers. There's so many different styles and of voiceover. So, see what it is that you want to get into. And the reason why I send people to that, because 90-something% of people that I say to do that never come back. And if you can't even do that and come to me and tell me what you liked about it, or which one sparked your interest, I'm not wasting my time, because I will help anybody that needs help. I've been blessed to have a huge support system in everything from radio to clubs, and voiceovers and production. So get training. Until then, utilize what you have. You have a television, you have a radio, you have a mobile phone, you have YouTube, you have a computer, whatever. Yeah. And that's how you study. That's how if you see my work and you look at my videos, you would never believe that every single thing I know about producing videos, I learned on YouTube.
Wow.
Watch it. Impressive. And everything I learned with Tony Lear, going back to my man Tony showed me how to use Lightroom. And him and New Turner, they showed me the basics. And then I started learning Photoshop. And the good thing about YouTube, there's a lot of people that want to teach, and then a lot of people that end up making money doing that stuff. Yeah. So you got to filter through that. There's a guy, with all due respect, huge YouTuber. He does voiceovers, radio imaging, but this man has some of the most over-processed. And when I mean over-processed, you ever see a WAV file or somebody's song, you look at a WAV file and it looks like a military cut, because they're over processing it. And it's like, dude, you don't got to do that. He has a dope voice, but it just sounds too over processed, to the point where if they were to send me that, if he were to send me his voiceover, I would have to cut it from the lows so it's not too heavy, because you don't want to over process your stuff. So when you learn on YouTube, you need to get second, third, and fourth opinions, because then you filter through the bullshit. There's a lot of people that will just mimic what they see and create a video, not really knowing what they're talking about. They're just mimicking what they saw in another video, so that way they can put out a video, and then you can fall for that, and then you end up learning something, or not enough of it, or you just learn total trash. So, but you utilize your resources, but eventually invest that money into yourself. If you want to get in voiceovers, get a coach. So once you know what you want to do, like I did a session with this guy named Donovan. He's the voice of the Today Show. This guy's killing it. And his main thing is, doing like the promo stuff, like Today Show or Good Morning America, and doing stuff like that, and sports and stuff like that. So you got, and then there's what's the guy's name? Brent Allen Hagel. I'm a big fan of his. This guy, he talks like this and da. But then he goes, and this he's got this deep in his voice that when you hear it and you hear him talk normally, and then he starts sounding like this. I'm like, holy crap. So that's the guy you definitely want to train you on movie trailers. And this guy's all over Hollywood. So yeah, just invest in yourself and get a mentor. Don't be scared to ask. And one of the biggest mistakes that I did in voiceovers is I never got an agent. Even to this day, in 2025, I do not. Everything I've accomplished on my own, through word of mouth, for my clients, and just promoting on social media. But for a long time, I doubted myself. And to be honest with you, that job working with Odyssey, I went in there, they hired me to be the urban guy and do the urban stuff. And for like a station like WPGC or WK, well, actually WPGC is one of their stations.
Wait, hold on. Because this is the perfect segue for my next question. So hold your thought. You've had an impressive radio career.
Thank you. Well, it could have been longer, but it was impactful during that time.
Impactful. It definitely was impactful. What's the story behind your radio journey since we're talking about it?
Wow. That's going to lead to something that I want to express before we wrap up too is we
got time.
DJ Flavor. He's still on WKYS to this day. That man, okay. I graduated in 96. He graduated in 95. What started it is that, and I did it for the wrong reasons in the beginning. He pulled up to I went to Wilson High School, and WKYS back in the 90s was in the NBC4 building near American University in Tenleytown. Right. So he graduated a year before me. So he pulls up in the KYS jam van, and everybody's going gaga. And I'm like, yo, and I was a rapper, and all I cared about was I want to promote my music. How do I meet these people? How to do this? So he got me into it and told me about it. And then I met the Live Squad because there was a group called the Live Squad that was on KYS.
Live Squad.
And they had the roll call. Yeah. And I was so dope with the roll call, and that they would call me, hey, yo, Two-Face, you ready? So I can do the roll call. And then I became the freestyle champion. And when you're the freestyle champion on Saturdays, you get to come in live and compete against and battle the people that are on the phone.
Wait, hold up, bro.
So happens.
Time out. Flag on the play, bro. Flag on the play.
Damn, a red one though?
You was a rap? You rap?
Yep. No. I was a battle rapper. Yep.
No way.
That's how I got into music. That's how I got into radio. Battle rap.
Way.
I was, and mind you, like I said, I graduated in 96. So back then, if you were a rapper, you were Obama. And I was already an outcast anyway. So I didn't really care. But we used to rap at the atrium in high school. And I was and my thing was that comes, and even the way like a lot of people were good on stage and they'll rap and try to be extra deep. And there's a time and a place for your style of rap. And as a battle rap or what I call myself, I'm just a straight up performer. I knew how to move crowds. I knew, and what I used to do was what we call, but if you're in a battle or you're on stage and they haven't, like I say, an open mic, you got to know that you got to make that crowd go crazy. And I used to have what I call frittins, where I would have dope lines in the back of my head that I wouldn't use in songs, but I'll have these dope lines in my head. So if I ever run out of something while I'm freestyling, I can incorporate the frittins. Like I had this one frittin about how Puerto Ricans call me Papi Chulo, and I'm Puerto Rican. But I had that in the back of my head. And two people before me, there was a guy before me, and then before him was a female Puerto Rican rapper.
Okay.
Named Gia. So I said that, looked at her, and the crowd went crazy. After that, when I said, and people Ricans call me Papi Chulo, and I look at her, the crowd goes crazy because they know she got this big ass Puerto Rico tattoo, and the crowd goes crazy. After that, I could have been like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Because once you get the crowd going crazy, you got them.
They got them. Yeah.
And that's how I met the Live Squad. And if you know who the Pooch Man, P Stu, and Steph Lover, everybody out there with me and P Stu were related.
Yeah.
They thought and so I was P Stu, and this is why I love the Live Squad so much. Not just because they put me on as their unofficial intern and then made me their intern until I lost the internship because of my mouth. And got in trouble when Wu-Tang brought liquor in the studio and I was talking too much. But Pooch was the live one, the energy and the host, and he was like and the hyper personality. P Stu was, he was the more quiet one, and like, all right. So like with Stu took me in, he taught me how to do production. He took me out on the streets, and that's how I became a street jock, because I love doing that. And we would go out and giving away stuff and just meeting the people and seeing the interaction. That was so much fun. And by the time, and so one night we were at the Spy Club. DJ Trini was spinning, and Pooch was like, yo, Two-Face, here. And I was like, what? You want me to rap right now? I'll bet. Let's go. He's like, nah. It's like, yo, use your energy. You're hype. Make these people party. So when I first got on, needless to say, I was just rambling, talking shit. And then DJ Trini, hated hosts back then, because hosts weren't a thing back then. But so then I started learning, and then I would open up for the live squad. It's just something that came natural on how to entertain. I took what I knew from rapping and how to, as a performer, as when you rap on stage and you're performing, you got to have that same energy and the same delivery and call and response and know how to move as a host. And I learned that from Pooch, and I learned the technical stuff. And P. Stew's another one. P. Stew was one of the illest rappers, not just because of his raspy voice. P. Stew is one of the illest rappers I ever met in my life. And then there's DJ J Ski. He was a producer. J Ski produced my first solo song called Cock Me Back. He produced it, did the cutting on it and everything. And this was during that time. So that's when I got into hosting. And then I met Yankee, God rest his soul, he just passed away recently. And the QYC DJ Quicksilver. A lot of people think that it's only one Quicksilver. There's actually two. There was the white chocolate from KYS, and then Baltimore Quicksilver. And you know, and so I met Quick, the white chocolate Quick, at Quigley's. And then we instantly connected. Like he was the first DJ to take me out of town with him to go do parties. The average is what we used to do. Like we would be at, let's say, Frostburg on a Friday, Quigley's on a Thursday, Frostburg on a Friday, back to Quigley's on a Saturday if it wasn't the Ritz, and then Norfolk Live on a Sunday. Right. And he would take me with him, and we just had this instant connection. Then it was 6 Cents and DJ Exclusive, who's now known as Damien Live, is a huge DJ and videographer in Miami now. And so I started taking it seriously. But the dope part was I would learn techniques from like DJ 6 Cents. 6 Cents is one who actually taught me how to actually DJ. And so we all had a crew, and then that's when Next Generation was formed. And I did a couple of parties, and Yankee just kept trying to push me to Abdul. For those who don't know, Abdul is the current owner of Air, but he started off doing parties at the Ritz. Then he linked up with Testify and Andy, and they started DC Live. And by the time he started DC Live, Yankee kept pushing me to him. He liked my style. So he was like, yo, I want you to come work for me. Like just work. He wanted me to just work for him. And he took me under his wing too, and would buy me dress clothes. I didn't have dress clothes. I was young, broke, and just trying to get on. And then I started selling cars. So I had more dress clothes, and I would sell cars during the day. I would wear a shiny suit if on a Saturday, so I could wear that same shiny suit at the club. You gotta make the best of what you got. Yeah. So then I started making a name for myself as a host. And this is how I got on the radio. Such a tricky thing. Other than the fact that I learned, and then I started doing DC Live. And when I did DC Live, I had to work with the DJ that does not like people on the mic, DJ Trini. So Trini was like, listen, Abdul fucks with you. Clearly you got something going on, but dog, you gotta cut back the talking. He was like, and that's when I learned, and it was just a quote that I got from Lorenzo Ice-T Thomas, is you got to know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and when not to say it. So as I'm doing these parties, and all these DJs are wanting to work with me and take me with them on the road, and I met some, and with hosting, I'm gonna stick. We can talk about hosting a little bit, but I'm gonna stick to the radio thing. But what got me on the radio is KYS had PGC had the better ratings, KYS had the better parties. So I'm hosting these parties, and I'm gonna shout them out. And the key was I never, not once, ever said I worked for KYS. But I'm on the mic, DC Live, especially at DC Live, and I'm bigging them up. Or any party that I'm at, I'm gonna big up WKYS because it's their event. And I'm just bigging them up because it's their party. But people thought I was working for them. And it kind of worked for me because then all of a sudden PGC DJs and jocks from PGC would take notice. Then PGC started broadcasting live at DC Live on Fridays. I worked for Abdul, so I'm there already. So they start doing the same thing. And shout out to Michelle Wright and Charles the Mixologist and DJ Rico. They would put me on the mic during the commercial sets, and then when they're on the live broadcast. And then Michelle Wright knew what she was doing. She told the engineer was like, yo, we about to go live again. And Michelle Wright purposely left me on the mic. And they was like, who the is that? That caught the attention. And then, and shout out to Reggie Rouse. To this day, I feel like he thinks that I used him, and I didn't. But he noticed my talent. He introduced me to everybody at PGC. The word got out that I was at PGC. And then that's when Sarah Huckabee, who ended up being the program director who hired me. Then all of a sudden, we're at KYS. Yankee got me up at KYS, and I became a street jock. And I started working for KYS immediately. But the thing is that people always thought that I worked for them because I was shouting them out at their parties. And I did the same thing for PGC. So then people are like, oh, he works for PGC now. Oh, he works for KYS. I didn't say either. I didn't say yes, and I didn't say no. I just let people believe it. Sometimes you just got to let people believe what they want. And then and it worked for me. So that became, and then I never, and be honest with you, even with the impact that we had in radio, I never wanted to be in radio. I wanted to be a street jock. A street jock is the one that does the call-ins. Yo, what up, Lorenzo? It's Two-Face. You what? This man Face. I used to say your man Face. They kept saying Two-Face. Your man Face, I'm out here at Boom Boom Boom. Come out here and vote yes KYS and get the ticket. That's the stuff I wanted to do because then I could promote the parties I'm hosting. And then I didn't find this out until after I got hired. But apparently Russ Parr saw me at an event.
Shout out to Russ Parr.
Yes.
I got a crazy story about him too, bro. Oh,
me same. And he did a lot for my career. And he saw me and was like, why is he not on the radio? And he was like, if you don't put him on the radio, then I'm going to send him somewhere else. And next thing you know, I was like, Wednesday, Thursday. I was on that Saturday. Huck was, what you doing this Saturday? I'm going to put you on. And I'm like, put me on what? On air? And before that, I started doing the live broadcast at Republic Gardens because I was at the right place at the right time. Renzo Ice-T had something to do, or if something happened, he wasn't there. I was already hosting the happy hour. So Huck goes, yo, are you at Republic? I'm like, yeah, do the live broadcast. What? First guy to ever do the live broadcast that wasn't on air. So that's how that started. And then I'm a street jock and I'm doing the live broadcast. And then Russ Parr saw my work. And then that's how we got on. And then they said, we're going to put you with Malik because Malik is, he knows how to run the board. He'll be the producer, not knowing that me, Malik, DJ Precise, my brother Bo, Bullet, who else? Yank. We all used to be at Precise's crib on DJ Precise's crib on 4th and Evar Street, Northeast, smoking weed, playing PlayStation. So they didn't realize we were already best friends. So all we did, and then they were like, and then the radio. So we started on Saturdays, and it was called Saturday Night Live, with fat like PTT, right? And then it's your freaking Rican Two-Face, and he called himself D-Matt. And before he stuck with Malik the Freak, he was D-Masters when we were the Wild Boys. So we was doing that. And then one night we had to fill in for the live squad for Thanksgiving. DJ Iron was filling in for Lorenzo. So Iron's like, yeah, so coming up next, we got the freaking Rican Two-Face and D-Masters from Saturday Night Live filling in for the live squad. Wait a minute. That's too much to say. Y'all need a name. If y'all listening, Face, Malik, he still call him Malik. Y'all need to come up with a name. And so then so like, oh, we gotta come up with a name. So of course, a bunch of potheads being silly, we came up with some of the dumbest names. But then when the weed started coming down, we started coming up with better names. And I remember Precise's landlord was this old Mr. Robinson, God rest his soul. He said, man, I was listening to you jokers on the radio. Y'all some wild boys. I was like, yo, remember when he said we should be the Wild Boys? It was like, Wild Boys. Man, nah, man. Then we started coming up with all these other names. And then Yankee, God rest his soul. You know what? Y'all should be the Wild Boys. I said that like 8 names ago. But so we, that same day, this all happens in one day. So we get on the air and we heard what Iron said. And then we said, all right, y'all, Iron said we had to come up with a name. So, and since people keep saying that we're too wild, I don't know how we introduce ourselves, but it's your freaking Rican Two-Face and D-Masters up in here, and we are your Wild Boys. Mind you, the program director said, do not give yourselves a name. We don't want people to think that you're going to take over the Live Squad spot. Why would they think that? But this, mind you, by then, there was like 10 versions of the Live Squad. And none of this was planned. And that happened at Thanksgiving. By January, we were full-time as the Wild Boys, and that was 2002. And that's how the radio thing started. But we were two dudes that were considered. This is why I say you have to learn structure. We had raw talent, especially me. Now, Malik had more structure than me because I would be the one that would jump off the window and he'd be my bungee cord, but like, get your ass back up here. So, but it worked. That was the dynamic that we had, and it worked. And it was natural chemistry. Even to this day, when we were at Yankee's funeral and his wife asked us to, get things moving, it just came natural. Bouncing off each other, natural. You would have thought we planned that whole thing because it's just natural chemistry, and our whole crew was like that, and that's how the radio thing started. But we were out of control. We weren't learning structure. They started in January of 2002. By June, and a lot of people don't know the story. By June of that year, June 16th, because my birthday's on the 20th, I get a call. It's Adoria, who was like my agent, and she was the lady who ran VIP for DC Live, H2O, Platinum, all that. The queen, she's the reason why VIP rooms were VIP rooms. And she would introduce me to a lot of people, and she also worked with KK Holiday, who used to be Kiki Holiday in the Live Squad at one point.
Yeah.
Then he left and went to MTV.
Mhm.
So with that MTV background, so they called. He was like, it might be Kiki Holiday and the Wild Boys, but I don't think it is, especially because they were paying him a lot of money. So we knew we were getting replaced. And so from June, we didn't get taken off the air to September 28th. So we did, and what we call the summer book. We did that whole book by ourselves, and we knew we were getting replaced. At first, we were going to be like, man, fuck it. But nah, we said, you know what? We just ride this thing out. So we just gave the people us.
Okay.
And we had listeners and regular listeners that were everything from kids to grandmothers, not a grandma, but grandmothers that used to cook for us because they loved us. And we just gave them ourselves. And Pooch was like, why y'all so emotional on the radio? This was around the time of the first Go-Go Awards, the Go-Go Awards that KYS did. He's like, y'all sound real emotional. And then I told him what happened. He was like, oh, shit. And we just kept going until we got taken off the air. We got taken off the air. But I didn't get fired. We got taken off the air, though. And they put KK Holiday in. About a month, whenever the ratings came out. The ratings come out, Russ Park calls me laughing. I told him, you made a mistake. You dropped the ball too early. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, he's like, you guys did it. Did what? Dog, we went number 1. We beat the home team.
Oh,
Spanked them.
Wow.
Nobody, except for the original Live Squad, ever beat the home team in ratings.
Yeah.
But then by then we were already taken off the air. I was like, oh, don't mean nothing now. And mind you, I'm still smart because they're still paying me. So because I'm sad that we got taken off the air and I'm still getting paid. So I used to buy 2 ounces of Dro because back it was just Hydro back then. So I had an ounce of Hydro in the crib each week for me and my girl, and then another ounce that I would take over to Precise crib because that was headquarters and stuff like that. But then that's how I went to Boston. And they was like, yo, we got this station in Boston, trying to see if we're going to keep it or not. We'll make some noise. Russ was like, this will fit you perfectly. He introduced me to the powers that be. I went to Boston, dog, and it was natural. And that's how I became Two-Face Your Wild Boy, because it was just me at the time. And I made so much noise in Boston that the station ended with a 5,000 watt signal sitting on top of Blue Hills, which is way away. And it was only 5,000 watts compared to Jammin' 94.5 with a 50,000 watts sitting on top of the damn Prudential Center on the heartbeat of Boston. But we went from number 13 to number 3. And I made so much noise that then he finally called me and that's how I came back to DC. But that's how my radio career was. And and then I came back and did.
I don't want to interrupt, man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
We are short. We're getting down.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm my bad. See, that's why I told you. I told you earlier. I got ADD, so if I start going too far, just
I've
enjoyed me. But it's a lot.
And I'm sure that the Smarts and my final bosses have enjoyed the history and the stories as well. Before you go, I got one question, and then I want you to close out if you have any closing statements. Last question, real quick. What exciting projects are you working on now, and what are your future aspirations?
As far as projects, as far as the projects that I'm doing, I have my regular clients. I'm not. I was gonna take clients from my old job, but there's no need for that. And I'm using this transition to do more of the things that I was doing before. Like, I'm not going to get back into event hosting full time because I have to protect my voice for voiceovers. I have 2 projects that I can't talk about. This is you know, the most annoying thing about being in the voiceover business, and it's the production business, and you start dealing with corporate and you get those big clients, and it's like, oh my God, you got to sign a damn NDA and you can't do nothing. You can't say nothing until they drop it. And that's most of my work. Like when I do promo videos and stuff like that. But the goal right now, is, to be honest with you, I got the itch for radio because the older stations like Magic 102.3 and WHUR, they're playing stuff that's old school to us. When I was in radio, they were the old school. They were still playing Frankie Beverly and Maze, and a lot of and yes, I'm gonna say it. Wild Boys, we broke a lot of records. We did a lot of things, and like we were the ones that we were the first show to play Gone from NSYNC. Because people kept requesting it. So Malik was like, yo, and then Huck was like, or, you know, of course they're going to think no, because that's pop. But it was, the song was R&B. So Malik would just keep playing, or D-Masters would keep playing the caller's request. We would do something. We would go hard for stuff like that. And that's what made the noise. Damn, see, there go my ADD and made me forget. But as far as projects, one of my goals, shout out to WVC Wellness. We're doing some work, and I want to announce. I can't do it yet until I get the offer letter. But there's a company based out of DMV that I'm trying to get into. I'm getting into the pro wrestling business. Because we do a lot of commentary.
Okay.
A lot of commentary. I'm going to do more commentary because I'm getting settled. And I realized I got to stop waiting to get settled, because even now I'm going through a custody battle to get my youngest son. So I'm going to be sticking and moving between DC and Boston. So I realized that you can't wait for the right time. You just got to make it happen. You got to make it happen. Going because if you keep waiting to be ready, too many opportunities are going to be missed. And I've done that a lot. I've missed a lot. I've had a very successful life. Made a lot of bad decisions and a lot of different things, but it's a blessing. But I'm sorry, I can be distracted because one of my sons on the phone. But we're doing pro wrestling. Pro wrestling, I'm getting into that. I can't really give too much details on what I'll be doing until I get the offer letter. And then once we do that, we'll make the announcement. But it's going to be huge. I've always wanted to be involved, because I said it on Facebook. I was like, yo, if there's any wrestlers out there in the DMV, because I'm going home, if there's any wrestlers out there that you got the skills, but you don't have the mouthpiece, I will be your Puerto Rican Paul Heyman. Let's go. And I will, whoever your opponent is, I'm going to shut him down on the mic before you even touch him. So that's how that started. So, and then I'm going to be doing more of the commentary and stuff like that.
That drop you did for the final boss, man, that was awesome, dude.
It's the real final boss, not the final boss that gets us excited for WrestleMania with John Cena's heel turn and didn't even show up to WrestleMania. That's not a real final boss. A real final boss shows up and reaches out and deals with people on a regular basis consistently. Yes, I'm hurt because I'm a huge wrestling fan. I'm a huge rock fan, and I'm disappointed at WrestleMania because of him. So shout out to John Cena, the real GOAT, because of his performance right now. But yeah, so these are things I'm working on. And I'm going to tell you something now. I don't care if it's Magic 102.3. I don't care if it's WHUR. I'm coming.
I know
y'all are playing the music I love. Mentally, I'm stuck in the 90s and early 2000s. 99 and the 2000s. That's my era. So I'm coming. Just know I'm coming.
My man.
And anybody sees this, and I'm gonna post this part from the interview. I'm coming because it's fun. And one of the things I loved about radio, we were good at doing the promotions and making the presentation when you show up to an event. If you showed up to an event and I set it up, them banners are gonna look like they belong there. Like they belonged in the building or the store and stuff like that. So that's the stuff that I'm working on. And of course, my voiceovers and production. And I've been studying photography. And now I've been getting paid to do portrait shoots, product shoots, and stuff like that. So now that's starting to turn into another stream of income. That started out as a hobby because I'm a street photographer and I just love capturing
you do great work, man.
Moments and people. Thank you.
All right.
And that's because I traveled so much.
We've run over a little bit, man.
Shit.
Give me a closing statement, and then we're gonna close out. And I'm definitely
closing statement.
Having you back, bro, because we have more to talk about.
There's so much more that we can talk about. Yeah, we could be more specific and focus on one thing because I deal with so much. That's the bad thing. You know how to say, be what they say about people that do the jack of all trades but a master of none. But I'd rather in 2025, I'd rather be the jack of all trades and master of, even though I'm a master of production. That was my start. That's what kicked off everything. I am a master at production and high impact advertising, whether I'm voicing it or just writing it and then producing it. But the main thing I want to say, and because again, my ADD is out of control, and this is actually my bedtime for the guy that used to work in clubs and go to bed at 5 a.m. Now I get up at 5, but follow the signs. Now, I'm going to say it from two different ways. I always tell people, I used to say this, and I'm going to make this as quick as possible. I would say, just get on the road, young. You're going to get up. There's a lot of times in life, you're going to want to go somewhere, and you may not end up there. But as long as you get on the road and you follow them signs, and you'll know what I mean, because you'll feel it. You'll get the goosebumps. You follow those signs. If you follow those signs, you may not go where you wanted to go.
Yeah. But
you're going to end up somewhere dope. You're going to be something. Now, I explained that to an Uber driver. That's why I love catching Ubers. I went to go to Stadium Club to pick up money. I used to host the Stadium Club, and then after I retired from hosting, I was doing their commercials. That's another thing. A lot of how I started in doing commercials. I was doing commercials for all the people I used to host parties for. And I explained that to a guy in Uber. He said, "You know what you just explained?" I said, "What?" He said, "The Holy Spirit." He's like, "This whole time you following those signs, that was the Holy Spirit guiding you to this very moment and everything that you're doing right now. And you got to follow those signs. So even if you don't have faith, you're not a believer in God, whether you believe whatever it is that you believe in, follow the signs, man. It's out there. And I would never force faith on anybody, but when I follow the signs, the blessings come. But you have to do your part. Follow the signs, stay focused, and don't be so anchored into something, because if you do, you have to, especially if you want to make it a business, you got to keep the business as just important as the passion. So that way you take care of the business, because there's a lot of times we hold on to things that we need to let go of in life, not just business wise. So that's my biggest thing. I always tell people, follow the signs. And if you have faith, if you're a person of God, then let your faith be strong. Let your faith be bigger than this big ass forehead, and follow the signs and watch how your life changes. Yeah, but at least yours looks neat and shiny and bald. Look at his forehead, you know. And I told my kids I'm gonna shave it bald, but guess what? I got a pointy head, so I can't do that. So I gotta keep a little hair. And if I just got to be George Jefferson like my grandfather was, and just, you know what I'm saying? But he had green eyes and stuff, man. It's crazy. But yeah, we can do that. You tell me when you want to do this again, so we can be more specific. I feel like I was too broad today because I do work on a lot of stuff. But listen, you know how we roll.
I wanted you to touch on multiple things. So this is, to me, in my opinion, this is perfect for now. On other shows, we definitely could come back and talk about one particular item or subject or what have you, and go from there. But ladies and gentlemen, Dan Wilder, my Brochacho, Two-Face the Wild Boy.
I appreciate you.
Listen,
feel good to get that to talk about this. I don't usually do this. That's the weird thing, and I have a huge story to tell, but I don't know. A lot of people can't handle my rambling too. So, and ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you Turbo is a professional now, I mean, I'm talking, we talked about playing stuff ahead of time and everything, and I still went off track and still squirrel. Man. A lot of that. So I apologize for that, but this was fun. And anytime we can talk about anything, if we want to focus on the subject, I'll be here. All I gotta do is say word. Like, as you can see, I keep my main camera with me. I've got a collection of lights and everything I travel with. So there's no more, I gotta have the right setting, or we can do this when I'm in my home studio. If I'm on the road and you want to do an interview and it have to be 9 o'clock and I'm at a rest stop, I'll pull over and we do that joint in the car. I'm not missing any opportunities. And I suggest that anybody watching this, do not miss out on opportunities, because that opportunities are not always going to be there.
That's true.
And stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You do that, follow the signs, you go crush it in life, and you're going to have fun at the same time. God bless you all, man.
Listen, that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. The Final Boss Podcast. I'm the Final Boss. That's my special guest tonight, Dan Wilder. Listen. Be balanced, be equal, be smart. To all my smarts, to all my Final Bosses out there. Any feedback, you want to email us, you're thinking about, you like to be a host on the show, a guest host on the show, email us at info@thefinalbosspodcast.com. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, send us some stars. Go check out the YouTube channel. Go check out all the other social media feeds that we have. We're on episode number 84, and we have more to come. Oh, by the way, before we go, merch drop. Merch. Go get some merch. The merch site is www.thefinalbosspodcast.com. One word. Thefinalbosspodcast.com. One word. That's the merch site. That's our show.
Do you see that logo?
Huh?
Do you see that logo? That is fire. I'm about to order my own. And I'm down almost 100 pounds. I'm down to a 2X, baby. I'm getting a 2X just so I can show it off.
Man,
I used to be a 4 and a 5.
Hey, bro, keep doing your thing, man. Thank you so much. We'll be seeing Dan in the near future. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Brochacho.
Peace.